Welcome back to this amazing interview with Dr. Don Paris. Today, taking health to another dimension here in the summit of Dream Big, creating a better life for yourself and the planet. And that is what you have done. You've lived your mission. You've lived your mission in creating a better life for yourself as you are living proof. And let me tell the viewers a little bit about you and who you are, because I didn't read your bio in the first part, but I just really wanted to get a lot of information in. But let us give the viewers a little overview as to who you are and what you have done. You are a Ph.D., honorary Ph.D. from the University of Stockholm in Sweden that you got for your book, Regaining Wholeness Through the Subtle Dimensions. Incidentally, that book is available, I understand, if you go to that free link here above us, and you're offering that for free as a PDF. People can, of course, buy it on Amazon. But yeah, so you are also a musician. You started out as a rock star. You've played in front of tens of thousands of people. You've opened up for large groups that were very well known, and then decided at an early age to quit. You took up spiritual evolution, meditation, and changed your ways completely, became a vegetarian, and abstained of all things that other people consider normal life. You started meditating, doing yoga, being a vegetarian, and then you pursued your dreams, not in music in this segment, but with alternative health information and the alternative healing field.
Yeah.
And you wrote your book, Regaining Wholeness, after years of research into radionics, the field of scalar technology. And the subject today will be electrosmog. And let me just, electrosmog and how it endangers our lives, and how you have developed something that hinges on radionics that helps us actively be protected.
That's correct.
For everybody who hasn't done so yet, please watch the first video that was for free. We have some great pictures. I don't want to waste our time in repeating the information. I want to get right into some new information, but there are great blood cell studies that show what happens to us when we are on a cell phone call, what our blood tends to do, how it clumps together instead of being free-flowing, of being able to absorb nutrients and oxygen instead. So please watch that video if you haven't done so already, and then join us back right here. So with that foreknowledge, let me just continue with your bio a little bit. You have then been chosen by the predecessor of the SE5 to be his successor. And you catapulted the SE5, which was good for its times, into a quantum modern world. And today I'm going to ask you, additionally to the electrosmog issue, about holograms, about the power of holograms, how holograms are created, how they affect our lives, how they've been used in sports to get better sports results for sports people, so measurable results, and how we are shifting completely into a new paradigm of reality, of understanding that informational fields, not pushing, not pulling, not electromagnetism, not electricity, not light, not sound, nothing that we can measure, but fields of information create the blueprint, are the blueprint for the creation down here in 3D. And I welcome you to give us a quantum jump into a quantum universe. And I'm going to let you run. I know that you've come well prepared with lots of slides to share, and I really don't need to ask many questions. If there is something I can think of, I will ask. So please take over, Dr. Don Paris. Thank you for being here.
Okay, well, let me just share my screen here, and I'm going to start the slideshow because I have so many good things to talk about. Can you see that okay?
Yes, I see that well.
Okay, well, basically what I want to talk about today is the electrosmog problem, like you talked about, that you mentioned, but also how we can deal with this in our day-to-day life. Because we all know that just about everybody now has a cell phone. It's just widespread. We're all putting these on our heads, and we're using them. Not everybody's putting them on
Yep.
their heads, luckily, but more and more people are realizing that putting them close to the brain is not a good idea, so it's better to use them on speaker, for example.
And I also want to tell everybody that you were gracious enough to tell us some very effective tools that people can order for very inexpensive online to protect themselves from, for example, like you said, the bone density of the people that had measured the bone density in the area where they carried the cell phone were losing bone density.
Yeah.
Heads being heated up, all sorts of things. You give them some really good tips of materials impregnated with silver that protect these microwave frequencies from penetrating into the body when the unit in most men's pockets is very close to the testicles or bones.
That's true. And, you know, that's one aspect of it is how close the cell phone is to our body. Some people say, well, I don't use a cell phone, or I always keep it in my purse or something like that. But these frequencies, this is a map of the United States with current cell phone coverage. And the darker it is, the more dense these frequencies are. So as you can see over here on the East Coast, for example, for those people that are living closer to the East Coast, they
so it's yellow is super intense, purple and blue is pretty intense, and then when we can see the map, we can go, okay, it's maybe not quite as bad. Okay, New York,
correct.
Not the place to live. In all the big cities, I see.
Basically, all the cities. In the cities, it's more covered and more dense in these frequencies. So we can't really get away from those frequencies if we're in a city. Basically, only in the Montana area. Is up in the mountains is where there's no cell phone coverage, or some of these mountainous regions. But basically, the United States is covered now with these frequencies. And what they found in a recently published meta-analysis of all these studies that have come through, large-scale study, that they've found that anybody that's using a cell phone for more than 10 years, especially high levels of cell phone usage, increases the risk of brain tumors by up to 200%. And
Jesus.
this is actually what happens in the brain when we put the cell phone on our head. These are microwave frequencies, just like a microwave, you put things in there to heat them up or cook them. And this is what the cell phone does on our head at a smaller level. Yes, it's not as strong as a microwave oven, but it heats up the inside of the head. And here's a picture on the left here. You can see where the arrow is. It shows that the brain is actually heating up. And here's another one. This one, they used it on the right side of the head, and compared to with this cell phone off, it's heating up the inside of the brain.
God.
Smart meters is a whole nother story. They're putting these, now think of a cell phone, right? With the microwave frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these new smart meters are 100 times stronger than a cell phone. And they're connecting them up to the house and to the wiring in the house. And so basically these frequencies are covering the entire house.
100 times stronger.
100 times stronger.
And then it runs into all the electrical lines or what?
Exactly. And it follows these electrical lines. And so people have had to literally not only move out of their house, they've had to move out of some apartment buildings where they didn't even have a smart meter, or the house next door, because they're so strong. When they're really close together, like a duplex, for example, they're getting the swap over, and people have had to literally move out of their house because of these things, because they were getting sick.
God.
So let's just talk. Yeah.
So these are microwave frequencies that are emanating, or being the carrier wave for the internet, for all of us, being interconnected. We love it. We can't live without it. I mean, we literally, maybe a grandmother can live without pictures of her grandbabies. However, most businesses would be toast if internet failed today.
True. I don't think we're going to see it go away. Smart meters, cell phones, Wi-Fi, they're all things that we've integrated into our society. So the best thing we can do is understand it, first of all, and then do some things to protect ourselves from these microwave frequencies.
Okay.
And one of the things that we've come up with is using what's called scalar electromagnetics at bio-friendly frequencies. There are frequencies that are beneficial to our body. For example, the Earth Schumann frequency used to be about 7.83 hertz. It's been rising. It's up as high as 11, 12 hertz now. And hertz means cycles per second. So the electromagnetic wave is very slow compared to these gigahertz microwave frequencies, which are so high they'll actually cook food in your microwave oven. So scalar, I'm going to give a little bit of a background of what scalar electromagnetic energy is, and then how we can use that to combat these other frequencies. Okay?
All right.
All right. So scalar was basically developed, this concept, from Nikola Tesla. Now, he didn't call it scalar. That word was added on later because of the mathematics involved. But he created, for example, AC electricity, radio. Nikola Tesla was the basic inventor of our modern age. Remote controls. He had remote control submarines back at World War I when they didn't even know what that was, or that was possible. So he was the developer of these basic concepts that we now understand as scalar electromagnetic energy. So what we do is every time there's a positive movement, if you follow this positive line, it's normally a sine wave going up and down, is that this energy then cancels itself out as the information moves through it. So
wait, back up. So you have two frequencies. No, you can keep going. I'm just going to talk with you.
Yeah.
So we have frequencies that are going like a waveform. And why does it look like a figure 8 right there?
Well, because what we do is as one energy is moving up, we move the other one down, and we crisscross them so that in end effect we come up with what's called 0-point energy.
Okay, so you're doing a plus sinus wave and a minus sinus wave, and then you have of the same magnitude, and then you cancel the two out. You have a fundamental zero
That's
magnetism.
Correct. And we call that 0-point energy. So we create a 0 point electromagnetically. And what that does is it allows us then to then put information through this 0-point energy. And we can, when we put informational fields through this information, through this scalar field, we can transmit it to a distant target without any loss of signal.
Okay, wait, back up. So when you say you can transmit informational fields to a distant object, regardless of, without magnetism. So you don't have the typical power force to send something. You have a zero field, right? That's what you're saying, zero magnetic field.
Mm-hmm.
But yet it creates this field inside of it that can transport information.
That's correct. And you might equate this to like a gravitational wave. Like gravity as we think of it on our planet is everywhere at the same time. So it's a field effect. It's more like a big field that's interconnected, and we don't have to go from point A to point B because we collapse the 3 dimensions of time space into this 0 point, and those informational points are in essence at the same point. It's hard to wrap our head around a 4th dimension.
So you're saying that point A and point B are actually in the same place,
in the bigger field. Yeah, exactly. All is one in essence, and Einstein was looking for this unified field theory that could put all of these things together into one field equation, and that we haven't quite cracked yet in terms of an equation that can crack that, but we can actually use that field. That field exists. We all know that. Einstein knew that this field existed. But,
okay, so you're utilizing that scalar, you call that the scalar field effect or scalar field?
Well, a scalar electromagnetic field or scalar wave is kind of like what we would call a standing wave in 3 dimensions. Point A and point B are connected with each other. Now what they're calling it in quantum physics is quantum entanglement. So when 2 atoms have come in contact with one another, they still retain a communication link even when they're separated. And we've done so many experiments on this. I can't go into depth on all of this, but they can read this in my book.
Yeah, maybe that picture is hypnotizing me too much. So it's like, okay, so you're saying you can transport information through entanglement over time space, beyond, outside of time space. And
correct.
Okay, so, and that has effect on our physical world?
instantaneously we can both receive these informations from a distance and send back information to these distant points instantaneously without any loss of signal. And how we practically use that is, in this case, what we would call radionics. This is a scalar antenna that and a scalar amplifier that we use in the SE5-1000, which is a radionics instrument, a radionic-like instrument. And let me just show you a little bit where that came from. Very short overview.
Wait a second. You know what? What I really like, I like seeing results before you give me the theory. So give me something that can be done with this.
Well, there are two aspects to scalar energy, and that's we have to understand what informational fields are, and then you can see how it's applied. So real quickly, now
okay,
this
so
is
we're not getting around the theory. Okay,
we can't really get around it because
can we rush through it?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
So let's say we just have a point in space without anything. There's nothing at all in the world. Nothing's been in existence yet, and we have a point in space.
But it is in space, so 3D exists around it?
There's nothing yet. There's only one point in space. So maybe it's 5 dimensions or 20 dimensions. We don't know because it's endless. There's infinity.
So there's a point in the something large.
Yeah. And that doesn't have any kind of scalar information yet. There's no information. But if we give that point in space some information, it already creates...
Designated?
Yeah, we designate that point in space, like in this case with the number 3. It implies already 2 and 4. It implies 2 dimensions. Okay? So at first it was 1-dimensional space. We'll call this 2-dimensional space. And this starts creating what we call the scalar gravitational subtle attractors. In quantum physics, they call them subtle attractors. They start creating an energy field around this point in space. Now,
so well, wait, I love that, because in my book, Dream Big, that's exactly what I described, that once you designate informational field like a dream, a wish, a want, a desire, a thought, even enlightenment as a concept, you start creating gravitational fields. Is that what you're saying?
That's true.
I love it.
Very microwave. So now in order to have energy, scalar has no energy. It just creates force. So in order to have actual energy, you need at least 2 points in space. So you would need the 3 and a 4, for example, and then you have what's called a vector. You have a place to go.
Then you have time, space, as we know it, and movement within it. Okay.
Exactly.
But meanwhile, we have created gravitational field effects through the process of giving something
meaning,
a concept.
Yes.
The very thought that we creates gravitational fields.
Exactly.
I believe that actually. I'm trying to be the one who doesn't know, and of course, those are the things I write about in my books. And I remember the moment when I sat in a lecture listening to the late astronaut who went to the moon,
Edgar Mitchell,
Edgar Mitchell, and he was speaking that he was involved in this big think tank, and they had these massive brains of scientists sitting together, and what they came to. And I was sitting there as a younger woman than now in the audience, and I had come to the same conclusion: thoughts create our gravity, create gravitational fields. And that's what they had come up with. He said, thoughts create gravitational fields, I believe. Can you recall the sentence that he said?
Yeah, basically that's true. Thoughts create gravitational waves or gravitational fields.
Yeah. And thoughts are gravitational fields. And this means that every single process of us conceiving of the future, for example, creates a vortex of something potentially going to manifest. It creates a field effect, and that's what you're saying, creates then vectors and creates movement in the energy world.
Yeah, exactly. So these are primary. The intrinsic data fields or informational fields are primary, and energy is secondary. Energy comes from information. And we're going to see some effects.
Comes from information.
Yeah.
First you conceive of it, then you feel it, then you see it.
Then you put it into action.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
So we're going to call these, sometimes we'll call them IDFs or intrinsic data fields or informational fields. So we can exchange those terms. Okay. So here's an example of using informational fields to charge some water. We put information into the water. One will be just tap water, and the other flower's got the charged water, and then you can see what happens.
Oh my God, you see that? You see that these flowers are like hanging on.
It's amazing.
So the flowers that got the information charged water, what did you put into it?
Just information. We used a
Like what?
radionic imprint of information to keep the flowers fresh, that they had enough nutrition to keep growing, not actually growing, but vitalized, vital energy, basically. Yeah,
So
vital energy.
you imprinted the information. How did you do that?
Well, that's very technical. We use the instrumentation of the SE5, and that's a very technical thing. It's in my videos on YouTube, but
Okay.
I think we need to keep going if we're going to get through this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, but you know, you can tell me all day long that it's charged informational water, and I'm going to go, wow, but it's creating results. I can see that now.
Exactly. And I'll show you some more results. We've got so many things that we can do with this informational field.
Okay.
Well, Galen Hieronymus got a U.S. patent on a radionics device, and this was one of his instruments. He built several different types of them, but he got a U.S. patent on it. And one of the things that he did was he measured from a photograph of an astronaut. Now, it's just from the photograph. The astronaut's going out to the moon. This was in Apollo 11, if I remember correctly. And he measured the vital signs of the astronaut every hour, like the breathing, the heart rate, everything that they were measuring on the spacecraft. He wrote them all down, 500 pages of entries from here on Earth.
Whoa.
Through a photograph,
Whoa.
Sent it to NASA, and it matched hour by hour everything that they were measuring on the spacecraft.
So he was not connected to them in any shape, way, or form?
Other than through these scalar informational fields or scalar waves, and through a photograph. He used a photograph, and which basically, I explain that also in my book about quantum entanglement and how a photograph these photons are, once they're interacted, basically you have access to all this information.
Okay, cool.
So Dr. Willard Frank, also known as Bill Lawson, was my mentor. I worked with him for 25 years, and he is the inventor of many of these types of devices. The Digitron was the fourth level of device, and it was the world's first digital radionic equipment.
So we don't have dials anymore, we have digits. Okay, gotcha.
Correct. And with the SE5, that was his fifth model, and then the SE5 Plus was actually just a slight variation on that, and that's the one I started with. You and I both started with that about 30 years ago. And of course, when he passed away, I took over and developed the SE5 1000, which I'll show you a picture in a moment. This is my book, which I write about all these things, and everybody can go and get this either at the link above or go to the website and sign up for the newsletter.
WWWS like in settle, E like in energy, dash like a minus sign, 5.com, SE-5.com, because we will have some people who are just doing audio, so we have to rely on the fact that some people may not see everything.
Okay, great. Well, this is all documented in my book, the history, the theory, and the practice, all in this book, and it's online for free. Or you can get it from Amazon if you like book form.
Okay.
So this is then the SE5 1000, which is the my design of the SE5 upgraded to today's technology using USB and all of the different aspects that we have, computerization that we can use. Phenomenal.
So in this instrument, then, you condense informational fields and send them to an entangled object.
Well, the fields are already entangled. We just send the information from point A to point B without any signal loss and without any time or space involved.
Right. Yeah. For those people who haven't watched this on video, I hope that you go back to the video and watch some of the pictures here. They are very rich. The whole entire presentation is full of them. So what I see and what you're trying to get across here is we digitized. Okay, got you.
Right. Now, one of the things that Bill had developed before he passed away was something called the Scalar Plus. And he designed this little step sweep frequency generator that puts out bio-friendly frequencies.
Okay.
Yeah?
So when you say frequencies, are you talking electromagnetic? Are you talking scalar?
Okay, very good question. There is a small amount of electromagnetic in this, but it's basically a scalar coil inside that is a collapsed electromagnetic wave, but it's put out through scalar, the EM, small EM wave, light, and sound. So he went through all different spectrums to put these biofrequencies out to get them into our auric system and our energy system.
Okay, and this was designed to do what?
Basically protect us from these other more dangerous types of microwave fields, for example, from cell phones, Wi-Fi towers, smart meters. Smart meters weren't actually developed by the time he first invented this, but they work very well for that too.
Okay.
So after he passed away, then I took over the SE5 1000, redeveloped that, and then I went to the Scalar Plus, and this was the very first one, which was, I made it smaller so that people could wear it or keep it in their pocket.
So and this looks like a small plastic unit that hangs on a leather strap and is maybe the size of 3 inches or 4 inches or so?
Yeah, it's about 3 inches, I guess. It's very small. And it's rechargeable. You plug it into a USB port, charge it up every 3 or 4 months, and it just keeps going and puts out these bio-friendly frequencies about 30,000 times per day.
Okay, so we've already covered in the first part how when you have something near your body that puts out these bio-friendly frequencies, it is a much more protective or louder to your system signal than any other signal that comes from somewhere else.
That's further away, correct.
Further away, unless you're sitting right on top of a tower.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll show these blood studies real quickly that we showed in the last presentation. This woman took a sample of her blood, and this was her blood, which is not that healthy looking to begin with, really. It should have, each cell should have space around it.
It's each blood cell like a red blood cell?
Yeah, each one of the red blood cells should have space around it, and so that it can absorb the nutrients and absorb oxygen. But then I had her make a 10-minute cell phone call, and it looked like this after 10 minutes.
Oh my God, like almost like solid rock sand, something like that. Like no space around the course.
Exactly. And
my screen is, okay, you're going back.
Yeah, okay. So here's another part of the, on the slide, the cells are in different places. This is another part. They all clump together.
Okay.
So then I had her use the Chi organizer for 10 minutes, and this is what her cells looked like after only 10 minutes.
It's like stars in space. I mean, not still a little bit touching, but my God, it's like breathing room.
Yeah, they're not perfect yet, but they've big improvement. Big improvement.
It's like day and night.
Yeah, exactly. So after,
so wait a second. So then just wearing the Chio after she had done this cell phone call created that kind of difference in her biofield so that the blood cells were reacting.
They just relaxed and opened up, and the Chi energy in her body was flowing better, so the blood basically will flow better too.
Okay.
So after I developed the very first one, I added something which we'd been experimenting with for many, many years called holograms. And where you can put in a hologram card. And this is a hologram card. This hologram here we can imprint with these intrinsic data fields, and they'll
So
hold this informational field.
is that your design, that the 7-pointed star there?
Yeah, that's our logo, and then the energetics of it. We put some energetic forms into it as well, but that's not what's doing the work. The work is what we imprint into these holograms.
Oh, so you're saying this is a hologram card, and then you put information into it.
That's correct. And
using the informational powerhouse production machine, the SE5.
Correct. And so we can imprint them for different things. So we have cards for all different types of things, from eliminating jet lag to neutralizing radiation and lose weight, reverse aging, reduce stress. We've got improved sports performance. We've made a lot of different programs as such, or different effects that we can use these for.
Okay,
and
so you program an entire program into a hologram? Or?
Correct, yeah.
Like a multi-informational...
Mosaic, yep, exactly. Multi-informational mosaic is programmed into each one of these holograms.
And the hologram keeps it, and then
yes.
when you put it into this device, it radiates it back out.
Then it spreads it out, and it goes out about 2 meters, or about 6 feet for those. This is just another list of some of the ones that we've done. And it spreads it out further. Now, even the hologram, if you just take the hologram itself and you stick it, if it was a sticker, for example, you'll see these on eBay and on Amazon. They make them for pain a lot, where people just stick the hologram on the place that hurts, and the pain goes away. And they've got great reviews. People love these things. It's actually a multi-million-dollar business at this point.
Tell me about the companies that have sold these, because what they did was sports enhancement with professional sports people, and they did the before and after test, double-blind studies, by just sticking on charge, right? Also, these were also programmed holograms. Okay.
Yeah.
They used the same type of technology?
Same type of technology. Like, for example, one of my friends with the 8 company, he had gotten these to the NFL football level. That sports people were using them and wearing these it's like a little silicone band with a hologram in it, so they could wear it. And the top 9 teams in the Super Bowl, the year that he was working with them, all of the top 9 teams were using his hologram bands. And
so when everybody uses them, they're all going to be winners.
Well, but all the other teams that didn't use them didn't even get in the top 9. They were, or in the top 10. The number 10 one wasn't using it, and all the rest of them that didn't even get there. But all of the top ones, top 9, were using his hologram bands.
My God. And that's sports. Just informational fields programmed into a hologram that they stuck onto the body.
Well, they were wearing it on a band.
On a band, right?
Yeah,
right.
sure.
Okay. So that would make me want to have a machine that can program this informational field.
Well, some people like to do that. A lot of people are doing that themselves, for sure. This is just a close-up of one of the holograms.
Gorgeous.
Now, this experiment, we programmed these holograms. Actually, my friend that had the 8 company did this experiment. And
so let me just double check here. Okay, so he had the same SE5, or he used
He was using radionic equipment. He was using scalar wave. He uses a little different instrumentation.
Okay.
He doesn't use ours, but some of the other companies that you'll see use our equipment. Not everybody uses our equipment.
Okay.
But same principle.
So just for the viewers who are listening to this, we're seeing 3 peaches. One on the left has a golden hologram sticker, looks vibrant, and another one in there has a silver sticker, looks pretty good, actually. And then the one next to it on the right looks like a shriveled up, like a briquette.
Nectarine. Yeah, these are all nectarines, and the one that didn't get the hologram sticker is so obviously
so what happened?
Degenerated. Well, they just let them sit out for I think this was 2 weeks, if I remember right. It was a 14-day study, and the holograms kept the fruit fresh. They were programmed to keep the vitality of the fruit fresh, and that's what they did.
Well, that's like straight out of Star Trek. So you put holograms on a piece of fruit, the fruit stays fresh.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to understand holograms. It doesn't have to be talked into it or hypnotized. It's not a placebo effect. You know, it like the other one shrivel right next to it without a sticker on it, shrivels up like normal ones would do.
Well, let's look at this apple one. Now, this was not the original apple because I only got the end result, but they took a green apple like this and cut it in half and so only stuck holograms on one half of the apple.
Okay.
Let the other half of the apple
Double
sit
blind
out by
study.
itself.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it at least have a control, not quite a double blind study, but it's a controlled study.
Okay.
So the one is a control and one had the hologram. And then after 4 months, he cut them in half, each half in half, to find out what they looked like. So this is the half that had the hologram. After 4 months, it looks still green and, well, not perfect, but
I mean, it's brown on some edges, especially on the cut part where it was originally cut in half. In the middle, when you cut it open, it still looks like an apple that's gotten a bit older, but it's 4 months outside as a half apple. Wouldn't most apples like shrivel up and decompose?
Well, here, let's look at the other half of the apple.
Oh my God, look at that. Rotten.
It's rotten to the core. I mean, it's completely molded and rotten. And so this hologram technology actually can store life force energy and informational fields.
Okay. So let me just repeat what we just saw. We saw a green apple. We cut it in half. Half of it we stuck a hologram on that preserved the vitality. Mm-hmm. The other one we left sitting out. Yeah. Then 4 months later, we take them and open them up, so to speak, cut them again in half to see what it looks like inside. And the one that had the hologram on it looks still like a reasonable, older, somewhat brownish, but on the edges apple.
Still green.
Still green inside. The other one that didn't have a hologram on it looked totally rotten and had mold, right. So that's outrageous.
It's outrageous. So let's just look at some human studies where they actually put these holograms on people. This one was for the reduction of pain. Group A had 246 participants, and they received charged holographic holograms. Stickers, basically. We call them chips in the study. Group B was the placebo. So they also got holographic stickers, but they had no programming in them. Okay,
I like that. Right.
They were not energized, and nobody knew which one they got. So it was a double-blind study. So Group A had 83% improvement of their pain.
Okay.
They got the charged holograms. Group B had an 18% improvement, which is the placebo. Placebo does have some improvement basically with everything.
On the expectation. Okay. Yeah. So, well, I mean, we should all make good use of placebo. We should all anticipate the best.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So here they did it with sleep. It was a little difficult to have an actual percentage or things like that. But they basically said that they had a decrease of daytime sleepiness in the participants that got the charged holograms, and they reported they slept deeper, but not necessarily longer than usual. So I thought that was interesting.
Okay.
This one was on rhinosinusitis. So they had two groups. The group that got the actual hologram that was programmed had a 93% success rate of symptom relief from rhinosinusitis.
No spray, no nothing, just stickers.
Yep. And the ones that got the holograms that were not charged had only a 9% success rate, which is definitely acceptable range for placebo.
I mean, this is like the medicine of the future. This is like Star Trek landing.
I think it is, for sure. So we've also created a room balancer where you can also put in these hologram cards, and they'll do about 1,000 square feet. These are very, very great for a home. It's a 360 field. It's not just sideways. Mm-hmm. So if you have a three-story house, for example, like we do, you can put it on the main floor, and it'll do the upper floor and the lower floor at the same time, within range. It goes about 1,000 square feet out.
Okay. So moving right along, because I do need to keep this. I mean, we've been going. Let's just go a little bit faster.
I'll go a little bit faster. Okay. So we also made a remote unit where you can put a photograph in a person like a radionic unit and send those holographic card frequencies to a person at a distance. Great for sports people. You can put the sports card in and they get it at a distance.
So the astronaut could have been on the moon, and I could have put in the card, and it would have been better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the things is with the little plastic unit, some people complained about the looks, and so we created a jewelry version of this.
So wait a sec. Now you're saying we're back to the Trio without the holograms.
Right. This one doesn't have holograms in it, but it had the original plastic box, the small one that people would wear around their neck, And the one I'm wearing is the Chio 2, which is a jewelry version.
Gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. And
Sri
it's just
mantra. Oh my God, it looks like
beautiful
a
inside.
spaceship.
Yeah.
So you open it up like one of those old clocks, you know, like these
Pocket watch, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pocket watches. Oh my God, that looks gorgeous.
And it's about the size of a pocket watch. Some
The old
people
one.
just think they're just the most amazing thing on earth. Whenever you open it up, their face just lights up, and it's like, oh wow, what is that? You know.
Wait a second, that looks like it's. I mean, no machines can make this. That's intricate.
These are all handmade in Bali, in Indonesia, and we have some amazing artisans there, and they make this incredible jewelry.
Okay.
So this was very interesting about the Chio 2. We also put orgonite and Agna-Horta ash in the mix, and we've heard that this can help repel radioactivity. Well, a lot of these pendants, this one particular that's on the market that says it's quantum science and they say it's scalar energy, is actually radioactive.
What?
It's actually radioactive. And let me just get back to this.
So the pendant as well is because it was made in Japan, or what?
I don't know where they're getting the material from this. Maybe because they're from Japan and it's radioactive. But this one is next to a Geiger counter. A person in Germany did this for me.
Oh my God. Dangerous for health, it says.
It means gesundheitsgefährlich, means dangerous to health. It's at 1.75. And he did a very interesting thing. He put his Chio 2 next to it to see what would happen, and it brought it down into the safe zone.
Oh man, that you can see.
Yeah, just by placing it right next to the pendant.
They reduced it to like by 50%.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So after we did the big Chio 2, some people said it was too big to wear. Some people loved it. We scaled it down and we made it even smaller, and that's the one you're wearing, the Chio 2. And when we got this idea, I thought, oh, this is my chance. I want to be able to put hologram cards into this as well.
Right.
So we shrunk it down and we put a little tiny hologram. We put them on SD cards, like micro SD cards, where you can input then these different programs into your Chio and wear them around.
It looks like a little spaceship flying with the wings when you open it up.
When you open it up, yeah, it's amazing.
So it's like a paisley. You open it up. Okay.
So this is one of the holographic chips that we can put inside there, and we saw the same subjects you can put in anything, jet lag to even work on your garden. If you want to set it next to your plants will grow better. It's pretty amazing.
Whoa.
So this one, we redid some of the blood studies with the small Chio to make sure that it was effective. And this was before the phone call. After a 10 minutes phone call, you can see they're starting to clump together more. And then after 10 minutes with the Chio Phi, they spread out way more than even the beginning.
So this looks with the Chinese characters. They did this in China, right?
They did this one in China. My friends did it in China for me. There's another one. Before the phone call, and then after a 10 minutes phone call, really clumping together.
I mean, it clumps. And then with the Chio
Phi,
in this case, it's like you can see all the little blood cells having space again.
Exactly.
Oh my
exactly.
God. I think the entire world needs to know this information. I hope just for this, that everybody shares this information with everybody they know. Yeah.
So this one is the Chio Phi. That's what we called the smaller one, the one you're wearing. And it's been super popular. People have loved this. We did a Kickstarter crowdfunding program, and we made our goal, and people loved it. Some people ask if children can wear this, and the answer is absolutely.
What a gorgeous girl! My
yes,
God!
You
did it nice. You did a cross section of society: a black woman, a child, and you have some for men, right?
Right, and some people like men like this black one here at the top.
So that model there, with the black shirt, is wearing a golden Chio with a purple stone in it. Yeah.
Right. He liked the gold one, but a lot of men choose the black one, which starts out gold like that, and then as you wear it, it turns black. We call it the Black Knight. And
why does
so
it
a lot
turn
of guys.
black?
Well, because it's actually starting to store photons, we found out. We didn't realize this. It's a longer story, but we started trying to mix different metals together, and we found out that, well, the reason that we love gold is that it reflects almost 100% of the photons that strike it. but when you mix it with other metals, it starts to collect photons and store them, and so it traps them in essence. So even though it's black, it actually holds more light. That's our concept anyway.
I see. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Very nice, yes. So that's for children is great. This is the newest one, our bracelet, our Chio bracelet, and we've got it in sterling silver with gold. The one on the lower part here, that's 12 karat rose gold, and it's more expensive because it's real metal. Real
what
gold.
are we talking about? Like the bigger jewelry one?
No, the gold and silver one's very expensive. It's about $1,000. Whereas this one, the top one's made out of brass, white brass and yellow brass. Looks very beautiful.
I like it's gold and silver to me.
Yeah, that's the golden one, and it's beautiful, and it's only like $500, so it's half the price.
And the Chio 2, the one that looked like
the really big one is about $600, and then the Chio 5 you're wearing is $400, just $395. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's all in affordable ranges. I mean, realistically.
Yeah.
I remember in
there's
Bali.
That brass one. Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's gorgeous. Look at that. In Bali, they were selling these discs, these charged discs. With
glass discs. I know.
To Bali people who make, $3 a day for $900.
I know.
I'm like,
I know.
Please. Okay. So you've stayed sane and humane. Thank you.
So this is the bracelet, how it opens up. So it's got the technology inside. It's got the hologram. You can put the holographic chip inside.
Okay. So but you buy pre-programmed chips. You don't make them yourself.
Right. We have the 25 different. If people have SE5s, then of course I teach people how to do that. But for most people, they don't have that equipment, and so we have 25 different subjects where they can choose from. It comes with two. Each one of these come with two different holograph chips, the chakra balance one and the eliminate negative energy ones, and then people can buy other ones for it.
All right.
Bali is mostly known as an exquisite tourist destination because of its beauty, its interesting and unique ceremonies, deep spiritual culture, and the open-hearted Balinese people. Secondly, it is known for its highly skilled craftspeople, world-class artists, and jewelers. The sheer number of artisans in Bali is unsurpassed anywhere in the world. It is in this flourishing artistic environment that we have found a way to combine the world's most advanced scalar technology with the deep spiritual roots of Bali culture to bring you the jewelry Chio. Each step of the Chio creation is handcrafted with care and enthusiasm to create not just a product, but a holy object infused with sacred energy. A treasure of artistry and healing potential. The Sri Yantra symbol is thought to be the most powerful geometric form on Earth. Into this form, we impress crushed moonstone and Agnihorta ash. The Chio is the world's only active EMF protection unit that works on so many levels. Light, sound, scalar electromagnetics, advanced geometric resonance, tensor rings, orgonite, programmed holograms, gemstones, and a mix of the sacred metals called the Panche Dhatu, used in the base of all temple building throughout Bali and India. the Bali culture is still alive in everyday interaction with the spirit worlds. Throughout all of Bali, people make blessings and ceremony for the spiritual side of life at least twice a day. After the chios are completed, a blessing ceremony from a Balinese priest called a pamangku is held for each batch of chios. The Bali priest infuses the chios with spiritual energy that is subtle yet tangible. Like all true talismans, the infused energy produces a positive field of energy for the wearer.
For this, yeah, chill, finish after blessing. Yeah.
So here's the thing. For the people in this summit, I'm going to give them a $50 discount on any one of the chios that they purchase.
Wow, thank you.
Okay? But they have to go to your page, chiorganizer.com/Ilona, and that's the only place they'll find the code to get the discount when they check out. And this is
Cool.
going to be for a limited time, so we'll run this for probably about a month after your summit airs for everybody to get in on this. But we're going to give a $50 discount on any one of the chios.
So until the middle of November.
Yeah,
It's
sounds about right.
Until the 20th of November when it's
Yeah.
over. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, when you got involved in this, you had already read in Mother Earth News an article where a woman was growing potatoes 70 meters long or 70 feet long. And
Those were the tomatoes, yeah.
The tomatoes, right. And
right.
then the potatoes were way bigger and way more hefty.
She was getting like 15 pounds per plant.
Well,
Yeah.
do you have some information a little bit before we wind up here on the use of this informational field in agriculture?
Oh, we've been using it in agriculture forever and ever. I don't have the slides for you ready to go. Maybe I can find a couple of them. Actually, I do have a couple.
But meanwhile, the website that you have where you explain all about it is called se-5.com. S like in Sam, E like in Edward, -5.com. And people
That's
can
correct.
read and see a lot of videos, a lot of details. Okay, so here we are back in the slide.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can switch to this one. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
And
let me get up here to China.
Okay.
I'm going to show you what happened in China. They took this land.
Barren land, okay.
Pretty barren land. The soil was terrible. It had been overworked, was chemically poisoned, and they started working with radionics on it. And first they did some studies on it to find out this circled area is the only area that they gave the radionic information to, and the rest they didn't. And you can see it. Everything's growing better and healthier and stronger.
Wow, that's like dramatic. Like outside of the circle, it almost looks like
hardly anything grew.
Little rows, hardly anything.
Sometimes things didn't even grow.
Right.
Then they did another one. They did this one just in that stripe. I mean, it's so obvious when you start using this stuff. And so
this is reminiscent of the studies that were done in 1951 by the USDA. They did the same thing. They took a photograph and cut out every other row and then just treated every other row.
Certain areas, exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
It's amazing, isn't
With
it?
the results that the USDA had, I think, was 81% effectiveness in just using informational fields.
Exactly.
Naturally, that information didn't make it out.
So they did not use any fertilizer. They only used informational fields, and this is what it turned into. That's the same piece of land.
Oh my God, how many years later?
This was after 1 year.
What?
Yeah, this was just 1 year of growing.
That's like Findhorn in action.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing.
Oh my God.
Now this was just last year. So they've been doing this for 3 years. This was last year. They grew all of these roots with
on the right
radionics
side,
on the right.
Oh my God, they're brighter, stronger, bigger. I mean, you can see it. You can see that they're more
it's
bigger.
just more vibrant.
Vibrant, yeah.
So the potatoes.
On the left side, just for the people who didn't see the visual, the left side of the same potatoes looked much less vibrant, much less smaller in size. Okay, and these, wow.
Yeah, and so these are just some of the potatoes and the people working. They loved working out there. The field is just so exciting, and the potatoes were so good. They sold them out in like of just a few days, because they tasted so good, people got wind of it. More fruit, vegetables, I mean, from
So they got better
field.
taste, they got better
Yeah.
results, and they didn't use fertilizers to grow all
Higher
this.
nutrition. Yeah, look at these potatoes.
Whoa.
And they just cooked up great. Yeah. So they've been just doing amazing things with the agricultural work in China. They had all the food tested afterwards,
Yeah.
because they sell it as organic, and as to be sold as organic, they cannot have any pesticides in it. Well, this was old. Remember, I told you this was old land that had been chemically damaged, and hardly anything would grow on it anymore. And they had 0% of any pesticides, any chemical poisonings,
Really?
no fertilizers. They were like blown away.
So they were allowed to sell it as organic.
Absolutely. It passed the test with flying colors.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is the field of the future. This is quantum jumping us into the fourth dimension. And you have been teaching people for the last 30 years how to do it, how to be it. I'm going to say you, although we are husband and wife team, and I'm going to be just the one who didn't know, and I ask all these questions. But somebody has to ask the good questions, right? Because, otherwise...
We did all this together. We built this business together. We did all this research together, you and I.
I mean, we told the world, we worked for years and years and years just telling everybody across the planet.
Yeah.
And, in the beginning, when we didn't have all the pictures to show the results, they were like, well, let's wait and see.
Yeah.
Then we were lucky enough to have all these institutes come and do one example after another. As a matter of fact, we have a beautiful little video that you might want to watch on the se5.com se-5.com site. Just a 20-minute little video introduction to this whole field and what it does. It can be used in any area of life. I mean, from locating where you want to live to locating lost articles to transforming your health, your mindset, your emotions, your belief systems, your ancestry. People in Germany have used it to transform family constellation, where they go back in time.
Amazing.
And see, that is what quantum physics is now saying. It's the causality can run backwards. We don't only can do and change the future, if we focus on a different future, on a particular outcome, can then inform the past, or us right now in the past.
And likewise, if we re-inform the past, it'll change the future.
And we can reach back into the past and then change the now. I mean, it's
exactly.
But to understand this type of reality, and this is why we're doing the show, and I have so many different speakers with different abilities and knowledge areas. This is like quantum applied to physics, to the physical body, emotional body, mental body, the spiritual body. But, do you think we still have to sit down and meditate?
Well, of course. This one thing we didn't talk about, this technology, the basic radionic technology, is psycho-interactive. That's the word that we use for it. It's our psyche, our consciousness, or consciousness interactive technology. Our consciousness is working together with this. We can't do this without our consciousness. So some people say, well, do you have to be spiritually evolved to use it? No, you don't. But the people that do meditate and do raise their consciousness level will have dramatically better results. It's just a given, because it is consciousness interactive technology.
But you have had farmers, you've taught farmers how to use it. So it's
we've taught kids how to do it. I mean, anybody can do it. But if you do meditate and raise your own consciousness state, you'll start to learn how to do some of these things without a machine.
Oh, I like that one.
I know you do. And then you write a book called Dream Big, the Universe is Listening, because you learn how to do these things.
That's it. And in the beginning, I remember when we were having a little, can you substitute all your spiritual training? And it's like, no, it's like a training wheel. Kids learn how to drive a bicycle with the 2 wheels on it, and you learn how to do it, and your subconscious and superconscious mind goes, this is how we do it. Okay. All right, I got it. Picture perfect. And then you start imitating the process in your higher mind. So learning radionics has enabled me to have a framework to understand quantum mechanics, quantum reality.
Hands-on practice and feedback system. It's really like a quantum feedback device in essence.
Right.
And we learn how to start replicating these effects with our own mind. Absolutely. Everybody that's been in this field for any length of time can attest to that fact, that they barely put their attention on something, and they go to even turn on their machine, and already it's happened.
That's it. And that is, the universe is listening. It's co-interactive with our consciousness. And I'm so glad you brought that up here at the end of our show for right now. I hope people who really are fascinated, and I hope it's everybody, goes and educates themselves with the sources and resources that you've offered here for free, and then develop your own Findhorn in your own backyard, or even more, educate other people and make a difference on this planet by utilizing the higher dimensions to create a better world.
Yes.
Tuning into a higher tune.
Yes. Ditto.
Ditto. All right. Well, thank you very much, Don, for being here.
Thank you so much. It was really awesome, and I'm really excited about your show. And I'm excited about hearing all these other people, what they're going to bring to the table, because I have my little perspective and what I've done and what we've done together. And I'm super excited now that we can branch out and have all these people share their life story, because it's all interweaving to this one enlightenment potential. I mean, we're just living in this potential of enlightenment, and we all add our drops into that, and we get a bigger ocean.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much. And then we, of course, all can contribute. And like you started with a dream, and you just went out on a walkabout. That's me with you there in that picture, saying, we wanted to find a time travel machine. Remember?
Yeah.
And we slept in the desert. We looked for weeks and weeks, 6 weeks. We went traveling through the southwest of America and just North America, and just dreamt of a very radically different universe. And
it manifested.
It drew us in. It was like magic. When we said it has to show up by Friday at 1 o'clock, or else we're going to quit this whole experiment, it showed up on Friday at 1 o'clock. Big time, and our life has never been the same.
That's true. Well, thank you so much for having me. It was really awesome.
Thank you. All right, good. Okay. Well, to another time, I'll invite you again for sure.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you.